My name is Alice, and I am a devoted homemaker. I have been married for 19 years, and my current husband and I tied the knot 2 decades ago. In my previous marriage, while it was my husband's second, he shared with me that he had a 5-year-old son. Initially, I contemplated leaving several times upon learning this, but ultimately, I couldn't bear to part ways with him. We decided to get married despite the challenges we knew lay ahead. Since our marriage, I have wholeheartedly embraced his child as my own, raising him with love and care. When we got married, his son was 5 years old. While he did exhibit some typical rebellious behavior during adolescence, we never had intense exchanges like those portrayed in movies, where he would proclaim, "You're not my real mom." I believe we have built a happy family together. 2 years into our marriage, I became pregnant, and we were blessed with our lovely baby boy, James. Although James was a bit older than his younger brother, there was a 7-year age gap between them. He remained kind and protective as an older sibling. Despite not being his biological mother, I had concerns, but as the saying goes, it's better to have a baby than to worry about it. Over time, I realized that life has a way of working itself out. A few years after our second son was born, our eldest son entered puberty, and he started rejecting my presence. The trigger for this rejection was something truly trivial, something I wasn't even aware of myself. Our eldest son told me that I treated him and his younger brother differently. I tried explaining that it wasn't the case, but he refused to listen. Our relationship began to deteriorate rapidly from that point on. In his eyes, I became merely someone who took care of household chores. Regardless of whether my son acknowledges me as his mother or not, I have been and will continue to be committed to caring for him until the day he becomes an adult and leaves our home. I am determined to be his mother, no matter how much resentment he holds. In retrospect, I realize that I should have let certain things slide and refrained from making any comments at that time. However, I couldn't bring myself to do so. As a result, our relationship worsened during his puberty and rebellious stage. Looking back, it has become commonplace for him to address me as "Hey you" while I'm doing the laundry or cleaning. He would yell furiously, "Don't touch my stuff," when I didn't ask you to. He would later apologize, seemingly realizing how out of line he was. But when I forgave him with a smile, he would become defiant again, saying, "In the first place, it's your fault for doing things I told you to stop, lady." It was during these moments that I knew things were spiraling out of control. My husband attempted to discipline him, but our son behaved well in front of him, causing my husband to doubt me, questioning whether our son's actions were genuine. I tried recording our interactions a few times to prove it to my husband, but circumstances always intervened, and we never argued when I had the chance to record. As time went on, our eldest son reached adulthood and decided to leave home. I remember feeling a sense of relief, thinking that I had finally made it through. His parting words were, "Finally, I don't have to see strangers' faces." I couldn't help but feel hurt by those harsh words, considering that I had been caring for him every day for the past 15 years since we first met. Although I understood intellectually that he wasn't a bad kid, emotionally, it was difficult for my heart to catch up. When our eldest son left home, uttering those words, our second son, Richard, who had just entered middle school at the time, looked puzzled and asked, "Why does Big Brother hate Mom so much?" This compelled me to feel the need to tell him the whole story. I had a heartfelt conversation with my younger son, revealing the whole truth to him, including the fact that his older brother was his father's son from a previous marriage. Initially, my younger son seemed shocked to learn that he and his older brother were not blood related. However, he quietly listened to the end of the story and eventually accepted it, saying, "So that's why his attitude towards Mom was weird these past few years." Reflecting on the situation, I started regretting claiming to be the mother of my older son. Perhaps there was a way for us to live together as housemates, and maybe I didn't have to divorce my husband to gain recognition as his mother. These thoughts kept flooding my mind. A few years after our eldest son moved out, we received a message from him through his younger brother, informing us that he would soon be visiting for a marriage introduction. Although I hadn't received direct communication from him, I was content with getting regular updates through my husband and younger son. However, with the impending marriage, formal introductions became necessary, and we had to face each other again. After meeting with the parents of the bride-to-be, we were left alone in the room, feeling the weight of the awkwardness that had accumulated over several years. The conversation shifted to whether I would attend the wedding. But my eldest son uttered hurtful words, saying, "I don't think of you as my mother. I don't want you to attend the ceremony." Shocked, I responded, "What? Jennifer is the one who raised you up to this point." However, he remained adamant, saying he didn't care and didn't ask for that in the first place. He blamed me for remarrying without considering his opinion and insisting that Jennifer was his mother. I couldn't accept that, and it broke my heart. In the midst of the confrontation, my younger son interjected, questioning his brother's terrible words towards me. He expressed his trust and disappointment, declaring his intention to sever ties with our house as he would be adopted into his wife's family. Realizing that my eldest son had never considered me his mother, not even once, I silently acknowledged his words. With my worried husband standing behind me, I left the room, determined not to cry in front of my eldest son. However, once outside, tears streamed down my face. What had the past 15 years meant? I reminisced about when my eldest son was little, calling me mom and saying "I love you" with a smile. The wallpaper on my phone displayed a picture of my two sons when they were small, capturing a tender moment of my 7-year-old eldest son holding my newborn younger son. If I could turn back time, I yearned for those cherished moments again. Those were good times, I muttered to myself, deciding to leave the house. My younger son is now 18 years old, set to graduate from high school next year. He mentioned his plans to attend a university with dormitories, bringing a sense of relief to my responsibilities. I resolved to change my mindset and embrace the joy of living on my own. That night, I had a heartfelt conversation with my husband about our future and our eldest son. My husband sincerely apologized for never believing me and not realizing the extent of our son James' disrespect towards others. I assured him that it was okay and acknowledged that my own parenting might have contributed to the strained relationship. Even though I had treated James as my own child, I now understood that he didn't want that. It was almost ironic. Making a self-deprecating remark, I handed my husband the divorce papers, expressing my desire to divorce once our second son left the house. Surprised, my husband asked if I was serious, to which I responded, "Of course, I would never joke about something like this." He acknowledged my decision, expressing his remorse for the pain he had caused me. But I assured him that he didn't need to apologize anymore, as I had never regretted marrying him. We professed our love for each other, and I asked him to take care of James and Richard for me. That night, I fell asleep peacefully in my husband's arms, just like we did when we were newlyweds. It was the first time in a long while that I could sleep soundly, comforted by the faint sound of his heartbeat. Several days passed since our discussion about divorce. Our second son graduated from high school, and our eldest son's wedding was approaching the following week. My second son wondered if he should wear his school uniform to the wedding, which I found amusing. As I smiled at his preparations for the ceremony, he approached me and initiated a conversation. "Mom, are you really not going to attend my brother's wedding?" I responded honestly, "Yes, he said he didn't want me there, so there's nothing I can do about it. It's his big day, and I want him to enjoy it." Concerned, my second son continued, "But Mom, you're the one who raised him with care." I comforted him, saying, "It's okay, Richard. There's no need for you to worry about it." Although not fully convinced by my words, my second son expressed his frustration. It must have been difficult for him. He knew the genuine bond between his brother and me. The relationship I used to have with my eldest son, which seemed irreparable, has now reached a point where it's impossible to mend. I made the decision to leave the house, and the divorce was finalized. I didn't ask for any division of property, simply keeping the money I had and leaving the house with our second son. That house held countless memories, representing half of my life. Before I departed, I left a video message for my second son, bidding farewell to my family. A week after leaving, I received news from my younger son that my eldest son's wedding had gone smoothly. I felt relieved and asked my younger son about his impressions of the ceremony. To my surprise, he responded, "It was a total disaster." Since I had chosen not to attend the wedding in accordance with my eldest son's wishes, his statement momentarily stopped my thoughts. But I regained my composure and asked him to elaborate on what had gone wrong. For some reason, he started boasting about it, saying, "You remember, Mom, how you were there for the initial meet and greet, right?" I replied that I did remember. Then he continued, "Well, because you weren't at the ceremony, his wife was upset. She even suggested canceling the ceremony, and her parents became frantic. The whole event felt strange, with a timid groom and a bride who seemed taken away." Curious, I inquired about what happened after the ceremony ended and all the attendees had left. My younger son revealed that he had shown my video message, entrusted to him, to his older brother. Upon watching it, my older son started crying. I was taken aback, but my younger son continued, saying that his brother's wife became even more upset and questioned how he could exclude someone who had raised him with such care from the most important event of his life. As a result, they separated shortly after the wedding. The shocking news left me speechless. In retrospect, it seemed that his wife had admired the fact that I raised him as my own, despite the lack of a blood relationship. During our conversation, she had expressed a desire to build a warm and loving family, just like her own parents had. My son's stubbornness shattered his own happiness. Upon hearing this, I couldn't help but feel a sense of karma, especially because he had cried upon watching my video message. If he still had feelings for me, it brought me great joy. I immediately contacted my husband and, with a worried voice, asked him about the couple's situation. Uncertain about what to do next, my husband sought my opinion. I suggested giving our son a little push to express his feelings clearly. Although I wasn't privy to the outcome of their conversation, my younger son later informed me with a smile that they had reconciled. I believed that everything would be okay from then on. I was determined to truly leave them alone this time. One day, my eldest son questioned why I was there. There was something he needed to discuss with me. I replied, "Yes, there is." I apologized for the hurtful things I had said during the wedding preparations. Watching the video message had reminded him that he had always thought of me as his mother. He genuinely expressed his love for me and apologized for his previous words. That alone was enough for me. I didn't need anything more. I thanked him for coming and commented on the photos I had received from my younger son, praising how great they looked. I mentioned his girlfriend, Linda, remarking that she was a kind and lovely girl, urging him to take good care of her and make her the happiest bride in the world. He promised he would. Then my son asked, "Mom, it might be asking a lot, but could you come back home?" I hesitated, unsure if his request was genuine or if he was manipulating the situation to make me reconcile with his father. However, seeing his tears, I decided to believe in his sincerity. I gently extended my hands to him as he cried before me, wiping away the tears streaming down his cheeks. I was surprised to witness an adult man shedding tears. Thanks for tuning into the Sire. If you enjoyed today's content, smash that like button. Subscribe for more unique insights. Catch you in the next one.